So currently it's iPhone 15 season, but out of nowhere there's a resurgence of iPhone SE4 leaks. Yes, I'm completely surprised and also tad confused. So let's delve into it. So for those not aware, there's been a lot of back and forth regarding the release of the SE4, and leakers clearly can't make their mind up regarding what exactly is happening. John Prosser first told us the SE4 would be based on the iPhone XR and would have an early 2024 release, which I'll be honest, I wasn't very happy to hear about because the XR today looks absolutely ancient. But then again, the SE3 looks like a phone from the Stone Ages, so I guess I'll take it. But then Quo randomly comes out of nowhere and says, hey, forget what John said, the SE4 is going to be based on the iPhone 14 design and is also going to have Apple's first in-house modem. Now this was properly exciting news because the iPhone 14 actually looks like a somewhat modern phone, so this design for the SE at a decent price would be insane value, guys. And by the way, would like to remind you guys, like this video and subscribe for more content like this, it would be appreciated. But as per usual in the world of leaks, when something sounds too good to be true, it's because it is. And so yeah, Quo then said, hey, forget what I said, that's no longer happening. And well, we thought that was that. Apple's done with the SE, the beloved series of phones are dead, and I guess Apple's just going to continue discounting older iPhones instead. But now to add to the confusion, Unknowns21 joins the party and gets us tingling. So first of all, they doubled down on Quo's statement that it should be based on the iPhone 14, and that's fantastic news. I know this hypothetical iPhone SE is not launching anytime soon, it should actually now launch in 2025 apparently, but even then guys, coming from the SE3, the iPhone 14 design is a humongous upgrade. And it gets better guys, because we initially heard there was a chance this would not have Face ID and Apple instead was gonna give us a Touch ID power button, which is kinda stupid because there's a notch on the phone, and so without Face ID, that gigantic notch houses nothing except the camera, which makes absolutely zero sense. Thankfully, Unknowns21 does say Face ID is coming, and that makes sense because, for one, Face ID is not some bleeding edge new tech the SE can't get. It's 6 years old at this point, so yes, Apple can surely bring it down to the cheapest iPhone, but also, Apple's lazy and usually does not re-engineer or redesign the SE. I know there are of course cool concepts out there that look stunning, but let's be honest guys, Timothy's just gonna use stuff from the parts bin, and so yeah, they're basically recycling the iPhone 14 and they're not going to change much. I mean, take a look at the iPhone SE 2 or 3. These phones look identical to the iPhone 8, which looks identical to the iPhone 7, and that looks identical to the iPhone 6. Yes! Tim really took recycling is good for the planet way too seriously. Anyways, we know the SE4 should have OLED because suppliers have begun fighting it out for panel orders, and obviously this being a cheap iPhone, it's going to have BOE and Tianama displays. Basically, the low quality panels Apple won't use on their flagships, those get Samsung displays. But hey, hopefully there is not much of a difference with the OLED on the SE4, and let's be honest guys, this is still a big upgrade over today's LCD panel. However, there will seemingly be some slight modifications borrowed from newer iPhones, and the first thing is USB-C. Now, to be honest, I don't think Apple wants to include this. They're including this because the European Union is breathing down their neck and is forcing them to include this, and so yeah, the SE without a question is getting this port as well. The next thing the source says is the action button, which is interesting because this year only the Pros are getting this, so I guess if the rumor ends up being right, we should see this special button come to next year's regular models, and then the SE4 gets it. But yeah, this is another change I appreciate. Of course, instead of a useless mute switch that does one thing, I'd rather have a button that does many things and basically can open anything you want, especially since my phone is mute 24/7. Now, the last thing they say is a single camera on the back of the device, and this I'm actually kinda unsure about. Now on paper, yes, it makes sense. Consumers who don't know anything about phones will just count how many cameras are on the back of the device, and so if they see this has 2 cameras, Apple can't upsell people to higher end models because the regular phones have the same amount of cameras on the back and Tim would hate that. But the thing is, guys, wouldn't this result in Apple having to re-engineer the device? As I said, Apple rarely changes the design of the SE. They recycle the old phone, give it some flashy new colors, and call it a day. But I guess in this instance, Apple's willing to spend the extra money to make this phone worse on purpose so that it does not cannibalize more expensive devices. And actually, now that I think about it, that's exactly what they did with the iPad 10, because it would have been cheaper to directly recycle the iPad Air design and give this a panel that's laminated and Pencil 2 support, but no, Apple made this iPad chonk on purpose to make the display worse and not laminated, and also they engineered a bloody new adapter just to make the Pencil experience worse. And so yes, I guess Apple's willing to go to any lengths to ruin their cheaper products. Even then, I'm sure there are still many excited for this. I mean, a $400 iPhone you can buy from Apple with OLED, the flat chassis, solid battery life, sounds just incredible. And well, that's where I want to remind you guys, you should probably not hope for the price to stay the same, because I have a feeling this is going to be a very expensive iPhone SE. Take for example the iPad 10 we just talked about. That got a big redesign that was based on the iPad Air, but of course everyone knows that design actually isn't very new because we've had that since the 2018 iPad Pro, but nevertheless, the price did shoot up to $449, and that was $120 more, which is a substantial increase. And so yes, we can expect the SE4 to be $500 or even $550, and that's not as great value because if you think about it, you can probably find an iPhone 14 or 13 for less that has comparable specs. And I'm pretty sure of a price increase because the SE4 had literally nothing new about it except 5G, and that resulted in a $30 price increase. And so when the design changes completely, and of course we get OLEDs, bigger batteries, better cameras, hell yeah, the price is going to increase. Now there is one way Apple could make the SE4 cheap, and it's something I've been requesting for and begging at this point, which is recycle the iPhone 13 mini instead. Because if you think about it, for most in the market for an SE-like device, the 13 mini already fits that purpose quite perfectly. It's compact for those who want small devices. In fact, it's smaller than the current SE whilst of course having a bigger display. And I know someone's going to be furiously typing right now, hey, people don't buy small phones, kill small phones, everybody wants ginormous 7-inch monsters. But here's the thing guys, the iPhone mini flopped because of pricing in my opinion. A lot of market research has shown that most looking for a small device also don't want to spend a lot, and especially when the 12 mini released, the SE 2020 had just dropped a few months prior, so of course, for that demographic, yes, the SE was so much worse in every aspect, but it also was a lot cheaper, and that's what mattered at the end of the day. However, notice how the 12 mini and 13 mini have been selling out on Apple's refurb site pretty consistently, and so personally guys, I would not be surprised if these phones are slightly more popular now because the price has come down drastically, and at the end of the day guys, there will be demand for any size device in my opinion, but it all depends on pricing. We all thought the 14 Plus would be incredibly popular and everyone buys one, but guess what guys? No one did. It was a massive flop, and that's because it was too expensive, even though the market allegedly shows everyone loves big phones. It would also benefit you, Timothy, because I know Apple loves a good upsell, and the great thing about a 13 mini based SE is that of course, it won't cannibalize sales of other devices because it's a small device. If you want something larger, you're gonna have to get more expensive iPhones, and that's exactly what Apple wants. They want you to buy those expensive phones. But of course, for those strictly wanting a cheap iPhone, a 13 mini based SE fits the bill quite perfectly since yes, there are some compromises and the battery life might be a little iffy, but at the end of the day guys, this is still a big upgrade over the SE3 and gives you OLEDs, the flat design and better cameras for much less. Now I know I'm just a guy who sits in my room and waffles about Apple, but trust me Timothy, I think I'm onto something, so yes, please give us a 13 based SE. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and thank you for watching.